Good. All right. Now we are learning the second paragraph in this mimer, Sefer Maimorim Melukat Beit. The mimer is called Yemetz Etchem Eretz Yisrael, and we're learning the second paragraph. And we asked the question, why does the prophet Micha compare the future redemption to going out of Egypt? According to many, many sources, the future redemption is going to be infinitely, incomparably greater than going out of Egypt. Going out of Egypt is going to be like small change, to the point that there's one opinion that says we won't even mention, in the future redemption, we won't even mention going out of Egypt. Now it's a time to we have a very important point here. According to Judaism, the main goal of Judaism is what's called a future redemption. The future redemption is going to come by means of the Mashiach. What's the whole point of the future redemption? Totally changed awareness of God. That's the whole point of this future redemption. It's not going to be a political move. Just like when the Jews left Egypt, it wasn't a political move. When the Jews left Egypt, they were slaves in Egypt, and they got out, they were freed. It's true. Externally, superficially, they were freed from Egyptian bondage, and now they were a nation, and they were a free nation. That's what superficially it seems to be. And because the Jews really put their emphasis on that, that's why they did sins. They worshipped the golden calf. The Jews said, now we're free. They do what they want. The freedom was really, they were spiritually free. As soon as the Jews left Egypt, then they were free to serve God. Like it says, Shalachet ami v'yavduni. Paro said God told Moshe to go to Paro and say, tell Paro, send my people out so they can serve me. The whole being freed from Egypt was so that we will not be servants of our bodies and worried about ourselves and our day-to-day existence, and we will be freed. God will take care of all of our problems. And we will be free to serve Hashem. So says the Rebbe, that was really the purpose of going out of Egypt. The way that we served Hashem when we left Egypt, the possibilities given to us to serve Hashem when we left Egypt were nothing compared to the possibilities and the motivation to serve Hashem that's going to be in the future. The future redemption is going to be that the Jews will be totally aware of God. Not only the Jews, the whole entire world. Malay Ha'oretz De'at Hashem. That's what we say every day on Aleinu. Did you ever translate the Aleinu prayer? Zachariah. You have to translate the Aleinu prayer that we say right at the end of the prayers.
Yeah,
Aleinu.
I will.
Very good. It says over there that everyone in the world will know, all the evil people will all turn to the creator of the universe. Everything is going to be fixed up. The world will be a perfected world. What does it mean, perfected?
That's the idea of tshuva right there.
That's right. Everyone will be doing tshuva constantly. What does it mean? Everyone will express their potential that God gave them.
Is a big
yes, there is, because the days of the redemption are beginning. That's right. But nevertheless, it says in the future, redemption is going to be infinitely greater. That's what the Jews are waiting for. And one of the signs of it is that all the Jews are going to come to Israel. But why are they all going to come to Israel? Because they'll all want to do all the commandments. They'll want to serve God. And only in Israel will you be able to serve God, because there'll be the holy temple. Outside of Israel, there won't be a holy temple. You can't do all the commandments. And Jews will desire, they will lust, they'll go wild just to do a commandment of God. Because now we're not aware of God. Now we feel we're doing ourselves a religion or something, a big favor, if we worship God. But the fact of the matter is that God not only exists, we really don't exist. God is the only real existence. He creates us all the time. And our identity comes from that relationship that God is creating us and giving this potential and giving us this ability. God's love for us. So that's going to be, in the future, redemption will be infinitely more perceived and felt than it was even when we left Egypt. That'll be the true redemption in the future. If so, why is it that and Micha knew this. The prophets said they all knew this. The prophets were all waiting for it. Everyone was waiting for this future redemption to come. The Lubavitcher Rebbe is trying to make it that everyone will wait now, that will be aware of what's going on. And that will be aware of what is supposed to be going on. So it says, let me just close this window here. Mr. Smith, can you close the window? Thank you very much. So we have the question of this Ma'amar is, two questions. Number one, why did Micha say, like the days of going out of Egypt, I will show you miracles, when it's known that, how many days did it take the Jews to leave Egypt? When the Jews left Egypt, how many days did it take them? 1 day. At Yom Tzeitzcha Meretz Mitzrayim, the Jews left Egypt. That's the big miracle of the night of Pesach. All the Jews, millions of people, left Egypt at one time.
It must have been a lot of, like, very loud because there's millions of people.
Could be. They were probably very happy.
Probably very loud. You probably gotta get a headache.
I don't think so. Nakudas Habir. That's why we drink 4 cups of wine now, to have simulate the headache that they had back then. I don't think so. I don't think so, Zachariah. I don't think so. Let's learn. Nakudas Habir. Here we go. We're in the second paragraph. Nakudas Habir Bazeh. The explanation that in this sentence, that when the day is going out of Egypt, just like the days of Egypt, I will show you miracles. There is 2 explanations. One explanation is that the future redemption will be like the redemption of going out of Egypt. It'll be similar. There will be miracles just like there was when the Jews left Egypt. Right? When the Jews left Egypt, it was a very big surprise. Who would ever dream that they would rain down hail with fire inside of it on our enemies from heaven? You don't see that every day. That's a pretty big miracle. That the sea would split, that man would come from heaven. So, but even more, like I said, there'll be a change in consciousness, a change in how do you say, in values. The Jews, instead of worrying about themselves, how am I going to get straw, how am I going to get bricks, now they could serve Hashem. So the future redemption is going to be something like that. That's the first explanation. Second explanation, the miracles that are going to be in the future redemption, will be miracles even in regarding to the miracles, comparison to the miracles that were in the days when the Jews left Egypt. And let's just take a simple example. The Jews, when they were in Egypt, right, they couldn't see God, they couldn't feel God, but they could see a beautiful sunset. They could see that they were alive. They gave birth to children. The children, every child is a miracle. So there were miracles. What do you mean there was miracles? They had food. A person, if he's positive, he can see miracles in everything, right? But those miracles of nature is a big miracle. Those miracles of nature that the Jews had when they left Egypt were like nothing. They're nothing. All of a sudden they saw what a miracle really is. What a miracle really is. Oh, this is the hand of God, right? That all of a sudden all the firstborn died, all the Egyptians all drowned in the sea, we went over. Those are big miracles. In the future redemption, according to the second explanation, in the future redemption, we'll realize, wow, those were miracles. That was like nature. That God split the sea and that he brought bread from heaven. That aspect of God that did that, that's like nature. That's nothing amazing. What's going to be in the future is incomprehensibly more amazing than anything we can imagine, even the going out of Egypt. The future redemption is going to be miracles, even compared to the miracles that were back going out of Egypt. It'll make them seem like it was just regular nature. So we have 2 explanations of the sentence of Micha. Like the days of going out of Egypt, I'll show you miracles. What it means that the miracles in the future, and as the revelation of God, which we said that's the main thing of the miracles, will be something like it was back then when we left Egypt. The second one is no. Like the days when we went out of Egypt, I will show you miracles. What it means, I'll show you what real miracles are. Just like when we left Egypt, they realized what real miracles are. Real miracles is not that, oh, I found enough straw today. There was a nice, beautiful sunset today. I had a couple of minutes of calm. That's a big miracle. Then when they left Egypt, they realized that, oh, this is real miracles. In the future redemption, the miracles then are going to be real miracles. Not like when we learned out of Egypt, that is. That was nothing like that. Because again, what does miracles mean? What do miracles mean? Miracles mean revelation of a level of God. And now let's get this clear, right? They have marriage counseling, right? What is marriage counseling? Marriage counseling, two people get married, they don't get along. So they go to a marriage counselor. What's the marriage counselor do? He says, listen, this is your wife, this is your husband. You have to appreciate one another. You have to appreciate that. Right now, we with God, we're married to God. Especially the day that God gave the Torah. And so we have to appreciate God. Since then, we have to appreciate God. That's our marriage relationship. Right? Before going out of Egypt, we couldn't really appreciate God. We could appreciate God because we saw that Moshe, he really appreciated God. So that made people appreciate. After the Jews left Egypt, they started to appreciate themselves, especially when they ate matzah. Matzah is the food of faith. It gave them more of awareness of God. They could appreciate it, improve the relationship for 40 days for 90 days, 50 days when they left out of Egypt. They got the Torah, and 40 days later until they worshiped the golden calf. But improve the relationship. In the future, redemption is going to be really improving the relationship. Then we're really going to appreciate what God is. Then we're really going to appreciate it. So that's the second explanation. That the future redemption is incomprehensibly greater than any of the miracles that ever happened, even the miracles of going out of Egypt. That's what it says, I will show you miracles. Then I'll show you real miracles. So there's two explanations of the sentence of Micha. In the future redemption, it will be something like going out of Egypt. And the second is that going in the future redemption, it'll be incomparably greater. Then you're going to see miracles. Arenu niflot. Then there's going to see miracles. Up to now, you haven't seen miracles. Hainu dagam b'klalot niflot. That all of the miracles, the geula tida of the future redemption, heim domot, they are similar. The niflaot to the miracles, the geula mitzrayim of going out of Egypt. Like the simple meaning. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped the line here. Hainu, ta'agam the klalot niflaot the geula tida. Even though that the future redemption will be similar to the redemption of going out of Egypt, nevertheless, there will be an advantage to the miracles in the future until they will be miracles even more than the miracles of going out of Egypt. Okay, so what does it mean? Let's see. Going out of Egypt is a miracle. According to all opinions, going out of Egypt is a miracle. The question is will the future miracles when we leave Egypt, when we leave this exile, and our consciousness is open to really what God is, will that negate totally the future, the going out of Egypt, the miracles then? We won't even remember it? Or will it be comparable? If so, let's explain what type of miracles, what does it mean that in the future there will be bigger miracles? Are there such things as bigger miracles? Of the miracles of going out of Egypt according to Kabbalah. Hine, Yadua, it is known. Now Kabbalah deals with the consciousness of the Jews. Which levels of God are we aware of? The whole idea of Kabbalah is to make us more aware of what God is, to appreciate God more. And that's a commandment, to love God with all of your heart. And there's a higher level, with all of your soul, a higher level, with all of your might. As explained in great length. To have faith in God. To appreciate, to know God. It says, to know God. It's a mitzvah. That's what Kabbalah does. Hine, you do, it's known. The Yetzias Mitzrayim, then going out of Egypt, That, by the way, is why it is necessary for everybody to have at least some idea of the concepts of Kabbalah. A little bit, because if you don't, you can't really appreciate God. And if you can't appreciate God, then your whole Judaism is lacking a soul, lacking fire. In order to go out of Egypt, God had to take the Jews out of the 49 gates of evil. That's why immediately after going out of Egypt, we begin Sfirat HaOmer. Shebakol Yom, that every day of going out of Egypt, Yotzim Mishar Echad, you go out of one gate of La'umatzeh, one gate of selfishness. La'umatzeh, the opposite of God is selfishness. This going out of what's called the 49 gates of selfishness, of opposite of God, Haya al Yedei Hamshachat Chamishim Sharibina. How do they do it? By shining 50 levels of understanding. Okay, Herschel, you with me? Lochen, therefore, there is mentioned the whole idea of going out of Egypt 50 times. Count them. Corresponding to the 50 gates of understanding. How do you go out of bad? You can't just go out of bad alone. Right? The old principle, right? You tell a person, I'll give you $100 if you don't think of a giraffe. Right? A person, as soon as you say giraffe, not to think about it. I'm not going to think about giraffe. You already thought about it. The only way not to think about giraffe, for instance, is by immediately thinking of something positive, right? Immediately you think about your house, you think about anything else. That's the only chance you've got, is not thinking about something, not thinking about it. In this case, not thinking about a negative thing. In this case, not thinking about a negative thing that you like. How can a person stop thinking about being selfish, stop worrying, stop being depressed? How can a person, he has to have something positive, positive to think about, to experience. So it says that's what's called the 50 gates of understanding. When a person understands something about God, then that enables him to stop thinking so much about himself. Hine Yadu, it is known. The Benun Shari Bina, in the 50 gates of understanding, there are many, many gates. There are many levels of the 50 gates of understanding. There are many. 50 gates of understanding. God, how they are in what's called Malchut, the lowest level. In other words, in regard to the creation. Hu Masha Sitra de Yuvla Nimshach Malchut. This is what's called the side of the Jubilee. Yubal, which the Jubilee is the 50th year. But this represents also the 50th level of understanding in the world. Lamayla Yoter, higher than this. There was 50 levels of understanding how God works in the world. 50 levels, Sharanun, Bina, as they are in their place, in Bina. To understand 50 levels of God, godliness, awareness of God in pure understanding, not even how it relates to the world, just pure understanding of God himself. And the highest is Kamosha Im Kalulim B'Sharanun, how they are in the 50th gate of understanding, in the level of Keter, in the level of crown. Keter Gufa and Atik, in what's called the inside of Keter. That's what's going to be in the revelations in the future. Will be miracles even regarding the Niflot Yetziat Mitzrayim. It's like, let's take a very, very, how do you say, coarse example, right? Mathematics in the 3rd grade, mathematics in high school, and mathematics in the graduate university, mathematics, right? It's totally different. Little kids sitting in the 3rd grade, they are just amazed, right? 12 times 3. Wow, how do you do this? 12 times 3. And you have to figure it out. That's like a lot of bananas. You put 12 bananas. You do 3 boxes of 12 bananas. How much is it going to... You can figure this out without bananas. You can figure it out. Oh, well, then you get up into high school. High school already they're learning a little bit of calculus, a little bit of algebra, right? Oh, the third grade kid, he would be knocked out. You put him into a high school class, he would just start crying, right? He would go home to his mother. I'm a dunce. I don't understand anything, right? It's just totally beyond me, right? Try to teach a 33-year-old child, a third grade child, calculus and algebra. They don't understand it. Average child. Then you go to advanced mathematics, how it is in the graduate university classes of advanced mathematics. A high school child will have no idea what's going on. Something like that. But here we're talking about reality, different levels of realizing reality. When the Jews left Egypt, so they got 50 gates of understanding in the level of, let's say, Malchut, the lowest way of understanding God. Let's say when they got the Torah, they understood it in a little bit higher level. But in the future redemption, it's going to be the highest possible way of understanding God. It won't be with any concepts that we know of. Right? This example that I gave is just very simple, that is a cheap example about the mathematics. Understanding God at the highest level. We have no idea what this is going to be. It says in the future redemption, that's what it's going to be. Therefore,
from a really high level, you can go to Torah and you can see things other people can't. That's the way it is.
If a person has a very high level soul, yes, but no matter how a high level soul, the biggest tzaddikim there are now, right? The Baba Sali, the biggest tzaddikim there could possibly be, that they understand what God is, and they understand their understanding of God is absolutely nothing compared to what it's going to be for everybody in the future redemption. And that's the true idea of redemption, as we're going to talk about, God willing, the next class.